Our guest this week, guys, is Hugh Padgham, and we got to look into one of the most famous songs ever recorded, a song that everybody knows, Every Breath You Take, which he produced. Today, we are going to hear another song produced by our guest that we've never heard before. So, Hugh, welcome back to Rob Squad and the Creators. It's a pleasure.
Thank you very much for having me again.
Oh, I'm so excited. And for some of you guys that see, obviously, your boy Jay is solo today. We have someone feeling under the weather, but the work must go on. Our executive producer here, Michael, said, you're introducing me to a band today that's produced maybe one of his favorite songs ever. I'm excited to see and hear who we got.
Well, have you literally never heard it before tonight?
I don't even know, honestly, what you're bringing to us. The only thing I know, it's XTC. And no, they have been suggested, but we have never reacted to them before.
Wow. Well, I'm looking forward to seeing what you think.
So in this group here, and you came to recognize and you produced so many hits. How did you come about with this group here?
Well, the band, I was in 1979, I was working at a recording studio in London that was owned by Virgin Records, and XTC was a band that was on Virgin Records. And so they came down to record at the studio, and I worked with them on a single with a producer called Steve Lillywhite, who went on to do bands like U2. But I was working in the studio as an engineer, and I met with Steve, and we were the same age, and we got on really well. And we ended up doing a single, and because that single did quite well,
we're only making plans for Nigel. Has this future in a British steel?
The record company Virgin asked us to do an album, and so we did an album that was called Drums and Wires that did quite well, and then we did a second album called Black Sea that also did quite well. And then the third album I did with them, they asked me to be the producer with them on the album, which was called English Settlement. And that was recorded at Virgin's other studio that was a residential studio in the countryside near a town called Oxford, about an hour out of London. And Senses working overtime came out of the sessions on that third album that I did with XTC. And they were absolutely one of my favorite groups to work with ever. Very, very talented, very, very great lyrics, interesting music. Some people kind of called them like a post-punk band because they started in the late 70s, which was kind of after the Sex Pistols and stuff like that. But they weren't really a punk band at all. They were just very, quirky is probably a name that I would give them. Very sort of English sounding, in the same sort of league as, well, not musically, but they might be put in the same sort of league as the Talking Heads.
Sleep in the daytime, I work in the nighttime. I might not ever get home. This ain't no party. This ain't no disco. This ain't no fooling around. This ain't the mud club or CBGB. I ain't got time for that now.
It's so interesting that you said like Talking Heads because we've been doing these reactions for about 3 years, and that is probably one of the most unique but super cool groups that we have come across.
Yeah, the thing is with XTC that they didn't have much money at all, and so they were very paranoid about wasting studio time. So they thought,
cool.
If we're going to be in the studio, we got to make use of every minute of it. So I never even actually I did go to one rehearsal of the album that I produced with them, but literally only one afternoon. And so by that time, I'd got to know the guys in the band pretty well because, we'd done 2 albums beforehand. And so it was pretty, it wasn't like they had demos to play me because they'd worked out a lot of it in their rehearsal. So when they came into the studio, they'd set up and try and play it just like a band. And so we'd play it through and then we would discuss how, it might differ in sound or whether the drums were going to be too live or too dead or that sort of thing.
That's so cool.
Yeah, I mean, two guitar players. One is Andy Partridge, who is the writer of Senses Working Overtime and the singer, and he plays guitar. And then there's a guy called Dave Gregory who also plays guitar. And so we'd always work to try and get the 2 guitar parts separate in a way so that they were distinctly different from each other. And actually on Senses Working Overtime, it's actually an acoustic guitar and a 12-string guitar.
Why do you think it took so long for them to really kind of pop off in America?
Well, to be honest, I think as a band, they were, even though there were commercial sounding songs, to me, I don't think they really, they were too sort of quirky and wacky, I think, for the American market.
I love quirky and wacky. I mean, so like you said, Talking Heads is one of the coolest groups. So I'm excited to check out some XTC today. And what was the song that you had for me?
The song we got for you is called Senses Working Overtime.
I'm excited. Like you said, if they're anything, if they're wacky, hey, that's the type of stuff I like. I definitely need a smile today. So I'm pumped up to be checking XTC, Senses Working Overtime. Guys, make sure y'all like the video, hit subscribe. Let's check it out.
Hey, hey, the clowns are
Ooh.
waiting. Stroll for the donkeys and the innocents can all sleep safely. All sleep safely. My son is mine. There's fodder for the cannons and the guilty ones can all sleep safely. All sleep safely. And all the world is football shaped. It's just for me to kick his face. And I can see, hear, smell, touch, taste. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 senses working overtime. Trying to take this all in. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 senses working overtime. Trying to taste the difference between a lemon and a lime, pain and pleasure, and the church bells softly chime.
This is so cool.
Hey, hey, night fights day. There's food for the thinkers and the innocents can all live slowly. All live slowly. My mind, the sky will cry. Jewels for the thirsty and the guilty ones can all die slowly. All die slowly. And all the world is biscuit shaped. It's just for me to feed my face. And I can see, hear, smell, touch, taste. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 senses working overtime. Trying to take this all in. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 senses working overtime.
I like this so much. And first, just start out with it's like the intro to it. And lead singer. What's lead singer's name here?
Andy Partridge.
Andy Partridge. Just the way that he kind of sinks you into the song just in that intro, and then that transition is so cool. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 senses working overtime. Hey, I think that's something we can all relate to. Hey, sometimes we get overwhelmed, and sometimes our senses just get overworked. And the way they're delivering it, I definitely understand what you mean by like quirky, like the Talking Heads. And to me, I love that quirkiness. To me, it makes them different. It makes them stand out. There's, especially during this time, there's a lot of people doing the same type of sound as far as it came to music. It's catchy, it's fun, and it's different. And that's one thing, if anyone's seen our channel, we like stuff that's different.
Well, the lyrics are basically a little bit like a medieval illuminated manuscript, if that means anything at all. When you're listening to this song, you need to think back to sort of medieval times, which is like hundreds of years before the United States even existed.
Yeah.
And he's sort of talking that the lyrics, he's a real kind of poet in a way, but the idea is that he's talking about peasants tilling the land, and that life was very hard in those days, and so it's kind of got a whole sort of medieval vibe to it. And like just before we stopped in the second verse, there's low backing vocals, do you, and that's meant to be sounding like sort of peasants working in the field who are sort of ridden with the plague. So they're sort of very sort of dark in a way, but.
It's crazy you say that, like dark in a way, because the song sounds so much. It has a fun sound to it.
No, it is a sort of positive thing, but it's just very. You almost need to next time we listen to the song, get the lyrics up. You know how on Spotify and whatever you can get the lyrics coming up at the same time, because they're very, very all his songs. I mean, I hope that listening to this record, you might get into listening to more XTC.
Oh, for sure. This is cool. I'm definitely gonna be checking out some more,
because it's all very what I call timeless in a way. It's not throwaway stuff,
Let's get back.
Okay.
Trying to taste the difference between a lemon and a lime, pain and pleasure, and the church bell softly chime. And birds might fall from black skies, and bullies might give you black eyes. But to me they're very, very beautiful.
Hey, the bass right here.
And all the world is football shaped. It's just for me to kick in space. And I can see, hear, smell, touch, taste. And I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 senses working overtime.
I like them. Like I said, I like the quirky, the bands that are different like that. That's my type of style, and this was definitely that. And I promise I'm gonna be checking out some more XTC. Everything about them was just cool. The whole vibe, and even the song. We start talking about it. And we broke it down, talking about the medieval times, and you really start diving into the lyrics. And some of the lyrics were kind of a heavy punch in there, but the sound almost like in the first half of the song, the sound kind of drew me away from the lyrics. But then once you said it, I was like, wow,
Yeah.
this does have a little punch as far as the lyrics in there.
I tell you what, you have to listen to it plenty of times before you get, I mean, I'm glad you like it the first time, but if you listen to it a load more times, you'll get even more out of it because you'll be able to listen more clearly to the lyrics. But can I just make a few points
Of
quickly?
course.
Firstly, did you like the crow at the end? That was a
I,
crow.
I'm gonna tell you this. Not many people know outside of my family. The crow. I'm terrified of birds. I like birds are my birds. Something about birds, like ever since I've been a little kid, has been my phobia. But no, I'll say I feel like the crow. I feel like it fits the band though, because crows are smart, sometimes devious, sometimes different birds, and
Next time you listen to the video, the bass drum, if you see, there's a picture of a horse on it, which is like a white horse, and that is a pre. I was talking about medieval, but in before medieval times, in literally BC, before Christ, in the Stone Age or whatever, people made these chalk. They on the side of a hill, they would make these enormous. They would carve out the size of a hill and make these enormous pictures of horses and things. And that horse that you see on the bass drum is probably about 300 or 400 feet wide by 100 feet tall on the side of a hill, and it's still there. And that's all to do with the vibe of this song and the album and stuff.
see, I love stuff like that. Just
And then
so different. That's cool as heck.
And then, secondly, I don't know if you noticed, but in the video, what they did when they were making the video is they sped the song up to twice the speed, and they filmed it at twice the speed, and then slowed it down to the normal speed. So that's why you get those sort of like what looks like freezing or slow motion movements in it. And I think it was one of the first videos, because we're talking a long time ago, 1981, when videos and MTV was all
Was
very
just starting.
new. Yeah. And so that was quite a innovative thing at the time. And then going back to the drums, I mean, you can see what an amazing drummer, his name was Terry, was with those drum fills that
Hmm.
he did on that song. And also, which is the bass. You mentioned the bass.
Oh yeah, the bass was killer in that.
The guy he's called Colin Moulding, and he also wrote and sung on some of XT's hits as well. But his bass playing, in my mind, he's one of the best bass players I've ever worked with, and he's playing fretless bass on this song, and it's like all the sliding bits he does, woo, like that. It's like it's really incredible.
Fretless bass. So
Yeah.
I mean, it's literally all sliding. Then if he's
Yeah.
on it,
Yeah, there's
wow.
loads. They should have been a much bigger band than they were.
I agree 100%.
And
Off one song.
Yeah, the record company was very hopeful that this record was going to be would break them in America, but sadly, soon after we made the record, Andy, this guy who's singing on this song, just decided that he'd had enough of touring. He found touring really difficult, and he decided that he didn't want to do any more touring for the sake of his family and his own sort of, well-being and stuff. In those days, if you didn't tour the record, you were much less likely to have success. I mean, it still had fairly good success, but everyone was really hopeful that the band was going to make it big, up to sort of Talking Heads type sort of bigness.
Yeah,
In
and
America,
just
because
hearing that song, I would definitely think that they had made it big. And I mean, you got me sold on them. I cannot wait to dive down the rabbit hole of XTC. If it's anything like what we just got, I am ready for that ride.
oh well, I'm so pleased that you like it,
Oh yeah.
and it's just great that you're so positive and into listening to some of this stuff.
I mean, I hate to say it, but it's just so hard to listen to music nowadays. And I think Amber and I found this channel and this kind of niche at just the perfect time because I mean this music has changed our life to where I mean we listen to this, our kids listen to it, our daughters know who Elvis is, and now our daughters, I'm definitely going to show them some XTC. So my 8-year-old daughter is going to know who XTC is now. So it's played such a huge role in my opinion. The great tunes are in the past. So I'm living through all of you guys from the 80s to the 70s to the 60s because I feel like that's
Yeah,
I feel like that's
yeah.
I feel like that's real music.
It was a real golden era, the 60s, 70s, and 80s.
Yeah.
And I was really honored and lucky to be a part of it. And I know because I have a grown up daughter, she's 32 now, and she loves music from the 70s and 80s and stuff. And so do so many of her friends and other people who I bump into or meet or whatever. They all seem to love that era of music more than now.
Yeah, it's awesome. I mean, 4 years ago, before we started doing this, I would have told you that all that music was just noise. But now, I mean, my mind has completely changed, and I love the music from exactly what you said. Just the era. It was so many amazing artists, so much great talent. Again, thank you for bringing some XTC. I'm really, really am excited to dive into this group and to get Amber, right along with me. I'm going to show her this one first. I know she will absolutely enjoy this band, Hugh. So thank you again for coming and hanging out with us, even if it was just with me solo today. I hope you had an amazing time.
Yeah, I did too. And please give Amber my best wishes and hope that
Yeah.
she's feeling better very soon. And we see her on the next time.
We will for sure. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with us today. As we always send you out of here, we love you, we thank you, we appreciate you. Remember, every single day that you guys wake up, it is a blessing and that you are blessed. And for your new family members that hit that subscribe button down below, you guys have a goal every single day, and that is just to make somebody smile. Until next time, we'll see you guys later.
Thank you. Bye bye.
Since she's